You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
We're live.
Mail it in Friday. Let's get into it with the lead. Welcome into the show to bring you behind the scenes here at Nation HQ. We had a handful of mandatory in-office days this week at the company, and we are fully ready to mail it in this Friday.
Yeah.
My work from home day was at the office, and it felt like I worked a real job this week. I'm Friday.
Yeah, this week was brutal.
Just brutal. We had to sit in the office for like 6 hours a day. Not even 8
not.
hours a day. We could still come in whenever we wanted to. We just had to show up for a bit.
Yesterday I came in at 11 and I left around 3 and I thought, boy, oh boy, what a day. I'm
wiped.
I was tired yesterday.
I literally woke up today and I was like, I'm exhausted. How do people like I was driving in on like Tuesday, the first of the days.
Imagine physical labor.
Oh my God.
Shout out to the guys in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to those guys.
Shout out to people with real jobs. This is like usually Fridays coming. I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. Got ONR, got like a fun Friday. Like what today? I was like, I'm not ready for the day. I thought yesterday was Friday. I went out drinking.
You know, I look forward to the weekend every weekend, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But this
Hot
week,
take.
I know. But this week feels different.
Yeah.
Like this week feels like I was in all 5 days. And now it's like I earned this weekend.
Oh yeah. I'm playing hard this weekend.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome into a Friday edition of Oilers Nation Everyday. Coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. I go to sportscloset.ca, and I was texting with my sister today because she sent me a cool Bills hat that was on Sports Closet. And I told her every day I fight the internal battle of finding cool Bills gear and being like, I have too much Bills gear. But I don't know, Sports Closet. It's my birthday next month. Maybe I buy myself a little birthday present, get myself that hat. Well, check out all the merch.
Now that you've mentioned it, maybe someone else can get it for you.
Yeah, maybe. Amber? Anyways, check them out, sportscloset.ca. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I suppose.
That's cool.
Do you know, I kind of have this
Is it the cream colored one?
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to pull up. They got them for Oilers. They got them for everything. Here, I will show the people because I have it right
here. Yeah, pull it up. Definitely a nice hat. But here's some.
Can I guess what you're going to say? You're out on the rope.
No. That's not what
the one on the right. That one.
Yeah, that one in Bills. Sick.
I don't know if I'm on the train of. And I used to do this, but I don't do it anymore. Having merchandise that isn't the actual primary colors of the team.
Whoa!
I know, bit of a hot one.
That's
like, I don't do that. It's not. My first hat was a New York Yankees hat, and it was green and like light gray. I guess it was kind of weird. It was cool though when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a Blue Jays hat that the logo, it was black, and the logo was neon green. Bit of a theme when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I've never really dove into that kind of idea of things.
To me, I like it because I like repping my teams no matter what outfit I'm in. If it's like a Bills game day and I just want to rock like a black t-shirt and jeans, I will throw on a black Bills hat, or I want a brown Bills hat to go with the fit.
Yeah.
Stay dripped out, you know? You heard?
Wear some brown pants with this.
Yeah, a little black tee.
You're a guy who does that tie.
You pull up to the club in that?
The club.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the last time I went to the club.
I consider Greta a club.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I suppose.
It's about as far as I go into
all
that.
My favorite clubs have Mario Kart.
When was the last time you think you went out to like Greta? Yes, gets to be a nightclub, but it is a bar.
Like an actual club.
Like,
there's
when
not
was
clubs in
the last time you
Edmonton.
went to the club.
Jade. But I couldn't tell you the last time I was there, but it'd probably be Jade.
That's an insane thing to have said with a straight face.
What's your answer?
I went to like a club in Toronto during All-Star, and it was like two-tier. They had the sparklers and the signs going around. Like everyone was wearing suits, and I was there in like a hoodie.
Right. I went to. This probably wasn't the last time. I feel like the last time I went. What's the ranch called now?
Midway.
But that's not even a club.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing we would get though in Edmonton. Like, it's not like you can't go there during the day and have like a dinner or something like that, right? Like, so I would say that was the last time, but that was probably like 2017. And then I went to Omnia in Vegas once, and that is definitely a nightclub.
Hey.
And I literally could not hate things even more.
Oh,
have you guys ever paid for
brutal.
bottle service or anything?
Oh,
Never done that.
well, my friend in Vegas we went when we were at Omnia. If you've never been to Omnia, it's like the big spot in Vegas. It's in Caesar's Palace. And shout out Caesar. And not the monkey, the king. And he ordered, it was, I think 8, 9 of us, something like that. Ordered Jager bombs for all of us. The bill was like $250.
like $25 a shot, probably.
Oh, yeah. And the guy, he didn't tip him. And the guy, he handed him back the receipt, and the guy literally said, like, F you, right to his face. I was like,
Damn.
Shouts for over $200 for 9 of us. Luckily, he's like an engineer at Imperial. Or
He's got it.
called, so he was fine, but it was pretty funny. I didn't even buy a drink. I couldn't afford one.
I don't blame you at all.
No, it was tough.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Boardsy's right. Caesar was an ape. That is my bad.
What was Nim Chimpsky? You ever heard of Nim Chimpsky? He was a chimpanzee, as the name would imply.
Do you remember on ONR that one time you read out the
entire plot to most valuable primate?
Yeah, most valuable MVP, yeah.
So Nim, he's a chimp, and he holds the record for the longest sentence ever said by a chimp in like captivity or whatever.
Whoa.
Yeah. Do you want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
Word for word. It was 16 words.
Oh.
Yeah. He said, and I quote, you can put it on like a motivational
quote card.
Yeah, quote card. Give orange me, give eat orange, me eat orange, give me eat orange, give me you.
Sounds like me post Greta.
There you go. Surprisingly, the chat is not reacting to this line of conversation, so we move on.
Slow chat.
And yeah, sorry,
the show.
He can host the show properly. Beautiful, dude. I told that to my buddies last weekend when we were at like a house party, and oh my god! Granted, we had a few, if you know what I'm saying, and we were just dying laughing, like oh. Anyways, Mr. Burns, more than most intros from people on a dating app. From Ryan, chimps are sketchy. I get it. Good news sounds like a new mumble rap song. Okay, I lied. The chat responded pretty well to this. We should have to give
It's Friday for them too.
Yeah. Should we talk some hockey? It's 12:08.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Training camp went down yesterday. We got a handful of video clips we'll play the people. The Oilers are starting to speak. We're seeing the team on the ice. I'll admit, I thought Twitter would have a bit of a better sense of humor than they did yesterday. I tweeted yesterday in the morning. I said, might start tweeting a bunch of insane overreactions to the line combos from training camp. And then I said, Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, the same line that couldn't get the job done in game 7. For fuck's sakes, this organization will never learn. And then I followed it up with what I thought would be a banger, and it was pairing Nurse with Emberson. Some guy who a bottom feeder traded for Cody Ceci gets gifted top 4 minutes. This organization will never learn. People didn't get the joke. Tyler Mulick responded, rent must be due. Most people wouldn't have seen your previous tweet. And I responded to that, or I didn't respond to that with this because I thought it would come off weird, but I was going to say it's a mortgage. Mulick, get your bread up. Anyways, I don't think Mulick's watching to this. I do feel bad about that. Zach Hyman responded, not the real one, a different one, said, we don't have anyone else to play that spot, Tyler. You're smarter than this.
Yeah, come on.
Daryl said, you ever watch the kid? You may eat your words.
Whoa.
And then some people actually, in all seriousness, agreed with me. And then I started to feel really bad because, players and families of players, they monitor things on social media a lot more than you think they do. And now I'm nervous that Ty Emberson's going to see that, or someone related to him will see it and be like, I don't want them to label me as the guy who hates Ty Emberson, because I'm actually a really big Ty Emberson fan.
Just don't like Derek Ryan.
I like Derek Ryan. Go Golden Bears. I'm
go
back.
Bears, go.
I think I'm going into my 7th year. I'm back. Golden Bears broadcast coming up in a month. I have a new color guy. Do you want to take a guess who it is?
Yep. Pat Puff.
It is Pat Puff. Shout out to our guy, Pat Puff. Yeah, everyone knew that. Anyways, so I want to talk a little bit about the Emberson and Nurse pairing.
Okay.
I don't think this is the way it's going to end up playing out, because I think Darnell Nurse, as we saw down the stretch in the Cup final, he plays better with a puck mover.
Yes.
And I understand there could be a line of thinking that's like, no, put him with a good defensive player. Ty Emberson is certainly that, although it's only been 30 games. But Ty Emberson, 30 games of his NHL career, but Ty Emberson has very good defensive metrics. So you could sit there and go, okay, do you play Nurse with Emberson because he's the best defensive righty you have, and maybe he can help cover for some of Nurse's mistakes, or maybe with a good defensive partner, Nurse feels more confident rushing the puck, transporting the puck up the ice, which is admittedly when he's at his best.
Totally.
Maybe that's the line of thinking for why Emberson gets to start there. And I get that. But there is another part of me that says, well, I looked at how Nurse played with Broberg in the Cup final, and that was a very good version of Darnell Nurse. I look at how Nurse played for his 3 games with Troy Stecher in the regular season, and that was a very good version of Darnell Nurse. Small sample size, but they had very good results together. Didn't get scored on in 49 minutes of 5-on-5 time on ice. And I go, okay, we've seen Nurse, think about his time with Tyson Barrie, actually perform pretty well with a puck-moving defenseman. With Nurse and Barrie as the top pairing, this team somehow went to a Western Conference final. And that's not me saying that that pairing was elite or that that pairing drove them.
It figured it out.
But it worked.
Yeah.
So I think Nurse's best partner is actually Troy Stecher. And the way this kind of goes is if you put him with a good puck mover, they get the puck out of the zone together more. They spend less time in their D zone, and there's less time for mistakes to happen that end up in the back of your net.
Yes.
And then you put Emberson with Kulak, and you have what I think could be a very, very high-level shutdown duo. When you're in the D zone, you start them. When you're on home ice, you play them against the other team's best players some nights. What that does is allow you to play Darnell Nurse in softer minutes in a more sheltered role, and you might roll your eyes and say, holy shit, $9.25 million to $9.25 million to have a guy on your, well, basically be your third pairing, I think is how you look at it. Why do you have to shelter him? All that. But I don't care.
I don't care.
I want to just get the best out of him. And if getting the best out of Darnell Nurse comes from sheltering his minutes a bit, putting Emberson and Kulak together, playing them as a shutdown duo, putting Stecher with Nurse and saying, hey, you two are going to play in a sheltered, maybe even primarily offensive role together. Ekholm and Bouchard are going to take the top pairing minutes.
Yep.
If the other two there are going to play in a primarily sheltered role together and give you good results, why do I care if they're playing the third most out of everyone if the results are good?
I think one thing with Cody Ceci and Nurse last year, and I noticed this, it was sometimes hard to pick this up on the TV, but when you're in the game, sometimes it felt like Ceci also wanted to be like that puck-moving defenseman,
and he
just wasn't good at it. I wonder if Nurse and Emberson would actually work well, because I don't think Emberson wants to do that. I don't think Emberson's going to be like chip out the glass, and that's kind of his role. Like, I think he's got a bit more to him than that. So I wonder if that would also help Nurse, knowing that his defensive partner is one, can move the puck and has that side to him, but also is going to be reliable behind him too, which would give you that. With Troy Stecher, I just find it very strange they re-signed him. Like, I'm happy he's back. I think he's a solid player. I think he can play more than what we've seen, because we barely saw him. But I don't know. It just seems odd that they brought a guy back who they didn't even want to play in the regular season. And now we're at the point, and granted, Philip Broberg leaving.
I don't think they didn't want to play him. I think he was just their 7th D, and the opportunity never came up.
But they felt it okay to scratch Ceci at points, and he didn't really fill in
the
roles.
Playoffs.
In the regular season, remember he had an injury.
Oh yeah,
and that's whatever. Respect the game. Of Stecher, I don't know. I really want to see Stecher do well, and maybe he can go play with Nurse, but I feel way more confident being like, okay, Emberson, you can give this shot with Nurse for top 4, and we'll see what Stecher can do next to Kulak, who, quite frankly, could make any of us an NHL defenseman.
Yeah. Who cares what we have to say? What did Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch have to say about finding Darnell's partner? Let's take a listen.
That is an important factor of camp through exhibition to find that ideal partner. But I think first thing that needs to be done is find the best player or best players to make this team, and not necessarily find the best partner for Darnell first. We want to find out who's the best to make this team. We've got several guys that have an opportunity to do that. And then once we find out which players then we'll find out the partner. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and say we need to find that partner for Darnell right away. And because also Darnell's not going to play the first few exhibition games. He'll probably sit out the couple just with his rehab. And yeah, maybe later on in the exhibition, then we'll be really seeing who his partner should be.
Interesting. We had a comment in here from Dave Lund. He said, please don't pretend that CC is the only D pairing that Nurse had trouble playing with. Nurse struggled playing with Bouchard, Kulak, and Desharnais. Okay, few things here that I just want to get up. He struggled playing with Desharnais, which, again, maybe goes back to you need a good puck mover with him. Okay?
Well, also, I think that goes to maybe Vinny just wasn't a top 4 defenseman.
There's an idea.
Yeah.
He struggled with Brett Kulak. Brett Kulak struggled on his offside.
Yeah.
And he admitted to us at media day of the Stanley Cup final, to our faces, that he wasn't that comfortable with it. We are media.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, and when he was with Bouchard was a young player. To be fair, Bouchard kind of struggled with everybody else besides.
I know. Okay, but can I also just read you? Last season, Nurse and Bouchard played 82 5v5 minutes together. Okay, shot attempts 111 to 70 for the Oilers. Actual shots 63 to 49. The goals were 5-4, but their on-ice shooting or save percentage together was 871. Like, if they get mildly competent goaltending, their numbers, they're actually a really good pairing. I think the problem was, one, at the point they tried them together, the goaltending was terrible. Like, 871 at 5v5 is ass. Yeah. That's an intellectual way to put it. Mm-hmm. It was ass. They actually weren't a bad pairing. The results just weren't there because the team was a mess. And the goaltending stunk. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I disagree with the Bouchard part. I think you can look back at his time with Bouchard. You can now look at his time with Stetcher. You can look at his time with Broberg. And to an extent, you can look at his time with Barry and go to the puck mover, go to the puck mover, go to the puck mover. And then you look and go, struggle with Kulak, struggle with Desharnais, and struggled with Cody Ceci. And it's like, okay, so 3 defensemen with good results, puck mover, puck mover, puck mover. 3 defensemen with bad results, defensive guy, defensive guy, defensive guy. Yeah,
I think the evidence proves what is right and what is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this needs to step up too.
And
at the end of the day, like you said, like I don't really care where he plays. He just needs to play well consistently. And we saw that at the start of last season. Mm-hmm. He was good. Played really well in the absence of Matthias Ekholm too. That should be put out there.
And I don't think it's overly concerning because it is a very, very long regular season. But that's what is disappointing about Darnell Nurse not being healthy or 100% healthy and not being ready to go for maybe 4 preseason games because you might only have 2. And if the team goes, okay, we want to try him with Emberson and that's the 2 preseason games. It's like, if it doesn't work, you kind of ran out of time to try another experiment in the preseason when the games don't matter. But here was Darnell Nurse talking about his health and his status.
Update us on where you're at and just, is it just contact that they're holding you back from?
They get the answer that. I'm not going to dive into the injury or whatever. I got to dive into it.
Are you confident that you'll be good to go when the season begins?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
I mean, you seemed how do you feel, Darnell? Because we were watching you out there, and you did most of the drills and kind of.
All of them.
Yeah, you did all of them. So you didn't seem to be backing off.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it's a fluid thing. Take it day by day, but I feel good.
All right, good stuff.
Weird interview.
Yep. Little awkward.
Pretty confident. He says it with a high squeaky voice.
Pretty confident.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when we watched these clips before the show, we spoke about it like Nurse and I think a few other Oilers, since Nurse was basically called out for being crap in playoffs, has had a bit of, what would you call it? Arrogance is the wrong word.
Yeah.
What did I say before the show? Come on, help me out.
Swagger, cockiness, ego, arrogance. Okay, wait. We'll tie it into a comment like Sam Scotch. Why does he act so smug?
Maybe that's.
I will be totally honest with you guys. If I was Darnell Nurse and I had to listen to a good chunk of the media and fan base in this city constantly roast me, I would also be a little arrogant in my media conferences. That's a fine reaction. I'm not going to sit here and be like, what the hell, Darnell Nurse? Also, Mulick, I will say we shouldn't have to insulate our $9.25 million defenseman. We talked about that a little bit, right?
I agree.
And I get where you're coming from, but let me put it into this kind of analogy. You go and you spend $75,000 on a new vehicle. Whew, you're feeling good. You spent up, you splurged, but hey, you want a nice vehicle.
Yep.
Month into it, it has engine problems. Do you just sit there and keep driving it and go, I shouldn't have to repair this? Or do you just go get it fixed? And with Darnell Nurse, it's like, do you just continue to roll him out in a role that's not giving you good results? Or do you sit there and say, let's just put him in a spot where he can succeed? It sucks we have to do it, but you got to do it.
You got to get the best out of your players at the end of the day.
Just like you'd have to get the best out of your car.
Yeah, exactly. And like, this is not the same comparison, but it somewhat works too. Like, how long have we spoke about, and granted, this guy's performed at high levels, but we want to get into the next level. We spoke about, like, we need to get Draisaitl wingers.
Yeah.
Has to be a priority this summer. Like, they've tried it so many times.
And you could sit there and say, why do you have to give your soon-to-be highest paid player in the NHL?
Yeah.
Why do you need to give them great wingers? And it's like, well.
Yeah, and it's like, Sid did it with Kunitz and Pascal Dupuis. It's like, yeah, but not, it doesn't work every time.
My guy's out here on a Friday slandering Pascal Dupuis.
So that's kind of the point. And I know they're very different situations. Draisaitl's obviously one of the best players in the league, according to EA, a top 4 player in the league. So top 3, sorry. So,
sorry. I got a buddy who's going to love me sending him this photo of Pascal Dupuis. Got to send it.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in our chat first because he's on an Android, so I have to text it to him on my phone. He had a crazy visor game. Straight edge.
Pascal?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to send you guys this picture, too. I think you guys are going to like it.
We got some comments in the chat, actually, about...
Yeah, read them while I do something that's not my
Chris
job.
Keller, the way Nurse is talked about, how is any different than how Mitch Marner is talked about in Toronto?
Interesting.
I think Marner is actually a bit disrespected, to be fair, in Toronto. I know the other day, what's the guy called Brendan Shanahan? He's like, 100-point seasons. He's like, well, he's actually never done it.
Yeah,
he got
Mitch Marner,
99, which is close enough.
Kind of like how Habs fans are like, we have 2 50-goal scorers in Cole Caulfield and Patrick Laine. It's like, well, they've never scored 50 goals.
Yeah. The others have 3. The others have 4. Corey Perry ever scored 50?
I don't think he scored 50 that year. He won the Hart, did he?
40-something.
He might have.
Hyman, Dry, McDavid. But the point is, like, I don't think Nurse and Mitch Marner are even close to the same kind of caliber of player.
He did score 50.
Did he? We always have 4 and 3 MVPs.
Yep. So that's pretty good. Hurt and Albertan, who cares about Toronto? Let's keep their name the heck out of this show. Tyler Mulick, Cole Caulfield, the best 50-goal scorer to not score 25 goals. Which,
Marner is actually good in the regular season. Nurse hasn't been the past couple of years. Fair enough. I mean, Nurse had that one stretch again until the All-Star game when he was solid, consistent top 4 player. And then just somehow, I don't know where he went on vacation, that All-Star break. It wasn't Toronto.
New. That's fine. Okay, what else do we got to get to?
Aaron, I sent you an email.
Do you want to, if 1 month into owning a 70K vehicle, 75K vehicle, I take it back to the dealership, get it replaced? Yeah, I guess you kind of poked holes in my analogy, but let's say you can't do that. So there you go. Let's get to what's trending for our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Summer is only over if you say it's over. You can continue to act like it's summer, and our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine are there for you. Everything you need to go out fishing one more time this season, anything you need to get out on the water one more time, or if you're just going to accept that it's fall, maybe a nice e-bike ride. Get yourself a new e-bike at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine.
I've thought about fishing the last couple of days and getting into the swing of things.
Okay.
Because I'm finding that I'm going home and just sitting on my phone. Like,
that's not good.
I'm not doing a lot.
Have you considered trying golfing?
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
So I thought about doing fishing, just something that could
But where?
I don't know, a lake.
But then you got to get a boat.
I have a boat.
What?
I have a boat in my family. There is a boat.
How would you get it to the lake?
I have a trailer for the boat.
Your little car cannot carry a trailer.
No, I have a vehicle that could get the boat to the lake. And
this seems like a lot, though.
My dad fishes.
Oh, shout out Tony.
I don't think it is a lot. I have the equipment already.
Okay.
I'll come fishing.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not a fishing guy.
That's fine. You're a golf guy.
I need action.
Yeah.
I don't. You might be able to tell from watching the show. I don't relax all that well.
Oh.
Yeah. last night I went and watched Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, what a crap game.
Well, actually, last night I went to IKEA first.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw an Oiler at IKEA.
Who'd you see? McDavid, Draisaitl, Nurse, Kulak?
Vasily Podkolzin.
Whoa, most
has
people
a-
forgot he was on the team.
Yep. He has a lovely looking young family. We made eye contact. It was kind of awkward. And then we were kind of just on the same path at IKEA. So we just kept having to walk by each other. Like we were in the downstairs part where you got to go through the aisles and like pick up your stuff, right? And it was just like, oh, turn around. There he is. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. So anyway, shout out to Vasily Podkolzin furnishing up his new apartment.
Yeah, shout out Vasily. I'm gonna have to go there soon. I move into my new house next Friday.
Whoa,
That's the
already?
big one.
That's
I know,
fast.
yeah.
What do you got to get from IKEA?
I think side tables.
Ooh.
But to be honest, like I don't know what your housing. How long did when you bought your house? How long did you wait before you have to move in?
I waited a month, but that's because like I ripped up the floors.
But like you had it purchased.
Yeah.
Like how? Like from your purchase.
Yeah.
When was your moving?
Oh,
date?
like how long was that gap? I
Yeah.
think it was like 5 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, mine's been 7.
Yeah, that's a
And
bit.
I'm struggling to remember what it even looks like anymore. So
Fair.
it's gonna be a real surprise when I move in. So quite frankly, I don't know. I need couches. I have 3 areas in the house where I need like couch furniture,
Mm-hmm.
and I own 1 like couch suite.
I would say don't rush.
No, I won't be.
Yeah.
I can't afford to.
But yeah,
Don't worry about that.
going on a good IKEA run is fun though.
Yeah.
I found the perfect recycling bins for my back door area. I cut some new shelves and I like redid how my back closet kind of
Okay.
works because before it was just a mishmash of stuff.
Mhm.
And I've been on the hunt for good recycling bins. Found them yesterday. Oh, buddy.
Oh boy.
We're growing up. We're
Oh,
growing up.
wait! I woke up today and walked to my back door to look at them. I was like, God damn, those look good.
I'm excited for a couple of things, and we can move on to whatever we're going to talk about next.
Not OE, prime off-season talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
To have a yard. Like I have
Oh.
a yard right now of where I live, but since I moved out of my parents' house, I've basically just lived in like apartments and
Yeah.
basement suites. So to have a yard, and I'm not gonna be really able to use it because
almost
winter's gonna
winter.
come right away.
Mhm.
But I got a greenhouse. I got some cedars. I'm ready. I know which ones I'm going to plant.
I should show you the
Can't
before
wait.
and after of my yard from when I bought it to now. I
excited.
love my yard.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend a lot of time there, I think. All right, what else we got?
Okay. What's trending? Thursday night football was a stomping.
Yeah, to be fair, we should have all seen this coming. I didn't really watch last night's game. I watched the first quarter or so, and then I was like, this is lame. Like, I wanted to see the reaction from Jets fans of Rogers, and
Yeah.
their unis look sick.
Yeah,
Actually,
cool
their
jerseys.
helmets were cool. Rogers was good. Used all 3 of his receivers. They have a pretty good offensive group there. I'm not really sure what's happening with Breeze Hall.
You're a Braylon Allen guy.
Yeah, I do like Braylon Allen. He's on one of my teams. So I'm excited to see him take over the starting role.
It's interesting.
I mean, they use him a lot.
They use him a ton. I do think part of the reason why they used him a lot more yesterday, and he had 5 fewer rush attempts, but actually 1 more yard. I think part of the reason they used him more yesterday is because it was a short week, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's usually when backups get more
And
action.
they were beating our
Yeah,
ass.
and they just beat up.
Mhm.
And the thing is, too, like, no one's gonna plan for Braylon Allen. Everyone's scheming against Breeze
Yeah.
Hall.
You know that kid's 20.
I know, crazy.
Crazy. Young.
He would have been in college when he was 17.
But in New England land,
Yeah, you're.
it's dark
Pats fan.
times, people. It's dark times.
But
About
I
time.
said the tie that I enjoyed. We won week 1.
Mhm.
That gave me 2 weeks of hope. Now we're back to where we expected,
It was
and
bad.
we're not going to go 0-17.
I also do
We got
think
1.
because you drafted Drake May and now you've made that bet, you're in what I would call a stress-free tank. Because you need like O-line help, maybe like a
I need
skill,
everything.
maybe a wide receiver, but like you have so many options and a lot of holes to fill that like you're not sitting here crossing your fingers being like, we need the first overall pick. We need the first overall pick. Like 4th to 6th, you'll get a good guy. Bingo, there you go.
I believe in Drake. We'll go from there. And it does help to have 6 Super Bowls in your back pocket.
Yeah, you're
That part
stress-free
does help.
living. Doug, wait, Tyler needs a new fence. Got a new fence. Very exciting.
Oh,
Shout out
you
to my guy, James Jansen, who listens to the show.
Shout out James. Oh, I
If you-
think I've seen him in the chat.
Yeah, if you need a new fence, hit him up. There's a little bit of a
something
plug for him
else.
for doing such a good job. He went above and beyond. Also, this is very exciting. Last thing, then we'll get back to sports. The old fence had moved and fallen so much
Mhm.
that he pushed it back to the correct property line. I got like another foot a yard.
Oh, that is sick.
And now I have some grass seed there, and I wake up every morning and I look and I'm like, ooh, the grass is coming.
It is. Coffee of the window.
We have a couple of things on some former Oilers, actually, which is interesting. Frank Saravalli with a couple of reports, or following up on a couple of reports yesterday about Ken Holland and Jay Woodcroft popping up in a few spots. We'll start with Ken Holland, who, Jay Schwish was the first one to say that, Ken Holland may be joining the Utah Hockey Club. He was spotted at camp. Frank Saravalli says the Hall of Fame GM was invited to spend a few days at training camp with Utah, where he has numerous connections in the front office. No plans yet on how a relationship with Utah HC might evolve, if at all. I think this is just a guy who wanted to go hang out at a training camp, and he's tight with Bill Armstrong, so why not? But this is not, and I saw Mike Gould, who we had on the show, was like, oh my God, going from Bill Armstrong to Doug to Ken Holland would be such a downgrade. But it's like, whoa, they are not hiring him to be the GM. He might be like an advisor.
Yeah,
but
they wouldn't even. That'd be such a kick in the teeth to Armstrong to be like,
they would never do that.
Yeah, we're not sure what we're gonna do with you, so we're gonna invite Uncle Ken in. I think this is just an experience thing. Is what it is. Bring him in.
Dawson Mercer's got a 3-year, $4 million deal. There's that, and then there's this on Jay Woodcroft. Frank says Jay Woodcroft is spending a couple of days around the Flyers for training camp. He was an invited guest of John Tortorella. Woodcroft is there to observe and watch, learning and adding to his tool set while waiting for his next opportunity. I fully expect whoever the first coach is that gets fired this year is going to be replaced by Jay Woodcroft, or at least Woodcroft will be in the conversation. The only crappy part for Woodcroft, and we've done this song and dance before, who's getting fired?
I was going to say.
Because every coach or every team is either locked in with a coach they love, it feels like, or they just hired someone in the last year, so they're not going to make another coaching change. The one spot that we kind of both had circled was Detroit with Derek Lalonde.
Yeah, Derek Lalonde. Woodcroft goes back to where it all began for him. I'm going to throw out a name out there. Let me just double check he's still a head coach before I make this decision. When the Minnesota Wild are battling last in the Central Division, they will fire John Hines.
He just got hired.
Doesn't matter.
I think
the Oilers got rid of Woodcroft after a year and a half.
I know, but can I give you a little counterpoint to that?
Go ahead.
If it's going so bad for Minnesota, they'll just ride it out.
I don't think they would. I think Bill Guerin has been there long enough now that he needs to start winning hockey games and doing something with this team. And they got some good players. I like, Brock Faber, Kirill Kaprizov. What's the other guy called? Boldy. I think John Hines was a bad decision at the time, and I think it's still a bad decision. I think he's my vote outside of Detroit. I think Detroit is the obvious one.
That is fair. So there you go. That's a little what's trending for some NHL topics. Talk Thursday Night Football. Oh, James Duthy replied to us.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Shout out to our boy Eli, who put up the clip of us talking about James Duthy, and this was Duthy's response. You two are in my will.
Legally binding.
Correct.
Yeah, I sent this to my lawyer.
I responded and said, open invite to come on the show, and he DM'd me.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't tell us that.
Yeah, he DM'd me and was like, I'm at President's Cup this weekend. Hit me up next week. I think his message was like, hit me up next week because I'm an idiot and I'll forget. So maybe Duthy on the show.
That would be really cool. I'm sure he's got some good stories. I read one of his books. I was reading it. Beauties. You read that one? It's one of those ones where there's like just a lot of stories within.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll give a couple of stories I reread and ask him about them on the show.
I read Guy on the Left and The Day I Almost Killed Two Gretzky's. Those are the two books of his I've read. The Day He Almost Killed Two Gretzky's, the story in there, it's really, really funny. Anyway, shout out to Duthy. He's got a handful of really good books. So maybe he comes on.
I read Guy on the Left, and I don't read often. That was a great book.
Do you know one thing about this tweet? James Duthy was not tagged in the tweet.
No, he wasn't.
He just came across it somehow.
Which is awesome. Or someone sent it to him. He also replied within like 15 minutes of it being posted. So someone definitely sent it to him.
I think I know who sent it to him.
Bob?
No. I think it's someone that you have a relationship with on TSN.
Oh, Onright?
I think it's Jay Onright.
Yeah, maybe Jay Onright.
Oh, yeah, that totally makes sense.
That would make a lot of sense, yeah. Are you going to have an author?
Couple name drops right there. Attaboy, Ty.
Yep. Not a big deal. Rolodex is getting fired up.
Get your bread up.
Speaking of Rolodex, nope, not really. But he does follow me on Twitter. Kevin Weeks had an interesting post.
Low Tide follows me.
Hey.
And he replied to one of my tweet the other day of was throwing bricks. That was so funny.
7 weeks with this. As I've mentioned on here for almost 2 years, there are currently 32 teams, but with plenty of expressions of interest from many suitors hungry for a franchise, I wouldn't be surprised to see between 34, 36 NHL teams at some point. Interesting.
Okay. 32 teams.
That does tie in to our Sherwood Ford Giant question of the show. Shout out to Sherwood Ford the Giant, calling all car enthusiasts. Take your vehicle to the next level with Roush Performance upgrades. Available at Sherwood Ford, they offer an extensive selection of parts designed to unleash the full potential of your Mustang, your F-Series truck, or any other Ford model. From superchargers, cold air intakes, suspension kits, and more, customize your ride for a truly exhilarating driving experience with the Giant Sherwood Ford. If the NHL expands, I'm going to be pissed. The Sherwood Ford Giant question is, are you down for expansion? And I say, no, I am not down for expansion. 32 divides perfectly into 4 8-team divisions. I love that. 32 means half of the teams make the playoffs. I love that. We have a problem with maybe a little bit of a watered down product here in the NHL.
Big time.
Why do we want to water it down more?
Okay, so when would you... So he didn't put a date on it.
No.
So let's say they get to 34. What year is it? 2024.
Yeah.
Let's say they get there by 2032. 34 teams. We expand
in
twice
8 years.
within the next 10 years. How would you feel about that?
Angry.
Really?
The NHL, when you look at the big four in North America, they're clearly fourth. And the MLS is nipping at their heels if it's not right there with them.
Arguably past.
Maybe past. Why did it's a cheap paycheck, or it's an easy paycheck. It's not cheap. It's gonna be billions of dollars, but that's all the NHL is doing here. Is it's the owners being greedy and hurting their product. Going to 34, 36 teams, it'll give the NHL maybe a brief spike, because in those markets it'll be like, whoa, if it's Atlanta, the NHL's back. If it's the others new markets, it's like, whoa, we got a team, exciting.
Yeah.
And then over the course of 5 to 8 years, it'll fizzle out into nothing. It is not good for long-term growth of the sport. I refuse to believe that. Refuse. The NHL already has a problem with the way they do their schedule. Edmonton playing Calgary or Vancouver. Edmonton playing Calgary or Vancouver only 3 times a season is criminal. And you're going to add 2 more teams. So what? You're going to play every team twice and then your division 3 times? That sucks. It sucks. Expansion's dumb. Don't do it.
Well, they got to get back. They want to get back to Arizona. I should say they don't got to do it. They want to get back there.
Yep.
So then naturally you find a 34th because it's just easier to have an even number than an odd number.
Okay.
Of course. So then you put one in the East. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just trying to walk through the process of it, of what the NHL clearly wants is they want to be back in Phoenix. They didn't want to leave in the first place. It took a long, long time. So that's inevitable. Atlanta, would they try that for a 3rd time? I just don't think Atlanta's a good base for a team.
Also, if you're expanding from 32 to 34 and you're giving teams back to Atlanta and Phoenix,
totally,
that doesn't grow the game at all.
No, it doesn't. I do think Phoenix can work. I think the minor hockey in Phoenix is way better because the Coyotes were there for so long, and it just didn't translate into anything in the NHL because of just the way we all know the ownership was for years. I think it's inevitable. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen within 5 years. I think it's just a 10-year project. 36. I don't even know where the other 2 teams would go because people. Wise Kyle. I think a couple of other people put it: Houston, Kansas, Milwaukee, Arizona, Austin. The problem is 4 of those 5 teams are in the West.
You also can't have 4 teams in Texas.
Who would be
Austin and Houston?
Oh yeah,
Can't do that.
You can one or the other.
Also, I don't mean to be a big wet blanket for the people saying Saskatchewan or Quebec City. That does nothing for the NHL.
I think it does nothing. Yes, if they're gonna put a team in Canada, I think they would just rather put. And there's nothing about this. Just put 2 in Toronto. To be honest,
I did see an interesting line of thinking the other day.
Okay.
It was a Simpsons meme that was turned into this format, but it was the NHL sitting there, and they're like, "Boy, would we ever love to expand to 34 teams?" And you know how Bell just sold its last share of whatever to Rogers for $4.7 billion, and then it was Bell sitting there. Well, what are we going to spend this $4.7 billion on? And it was just walking you to, oh yeah, 2 years from now, Bell has billions of dollars now at their disposal. Not that they ever didn't, but like they have this extra cash laying around. Do they not go to the NHL and say, we would like the second team in Toronto?
Right. That would make sense.
But like, no, again, I love people from Saskatchewan. I love Canadian hockey, but the corporate support there in Quebec wouldn't be there. The TV numbers probably aren't there either.
It's barely that in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And that's a market that loves hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in Canada loves hockey. It's just kind of general.
And well, that's the other thing too, is everyone in Canada already loves hockey.
Yeah.
If you want to grow the game, you don't do more in Canada.
Do you think they would? What would you prefer a relocation? And if that's the case, then where? Is there a team you would relocate to get back to Arizona?
No.
I don't know if that would be for me either, just off the top of my head.
No,
Because
there's not.
the markets that you would consider are doing well. Like the markets that shouldn't work do well.
Cody, the corporate support and TV audience wasn't there in Arizona. It didn't work in Arizona, but the Phoenix area is the first or third largest media market.
Yeah, I think it's third.
Yeah, third largest media market, TV market
Fourth.
in the States. Fourth, okay.
LA, Chicago, New York.
LA, Chicago, New York, then Phoenix. So no. There's a TV market there.
Mhm.
It just, you couldn't get into it. The corporate support is obviously there. Think of how like the Waste Management Open gets pulled off, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's a legitimate market. It's not Columbus. Shout out to Columbus. But you know what I'm saying, right?
I wonder if they would ever get relocated.
No. It's a strong local market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ohio does sports well. 70% of the chat is not down for expansion.
Good.
Just based off what you said, the market, the player market is very thin. They really need players to start coming through from the draft. Like they need basically all their first round picks to hit every year to have a chance to let this happen.
Yeah.
You need 3 or 4 stars coming out of every draft. Maybe it already happens. I haven't really
couldn't
looked at the
support it,
numbers, but it just wouldn't work. One thing, now here's a little theory for you all, which could help the NHL, is there's this big rumor right now. Well, it's not really a rumor. It's kind of happening that the NCAA is going to open the doors to CHL players, which would then allow CHL players to play in the NCAA.
Yeah.
One kid from the Regina Pats, Braxton Whitehead, already committed to an NCAA team, even though it's not even allowed yet. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but either way, he did it. Committed to Arizona State. If that was to happen, that would open up basically the entire West Coast to NCAA programs. Right now, there's just simply not enough players in the US and Canada eligible to come and play. So if that was to happen, and these Western Hockey League players can now go and play in the NCAA, you would probably start to see more teams in Oregon, UCLA, USC, these kind of big football team programs, open up hockey programs, Division I style, which would then obviously bring a bigger berth of player pool to the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get there first. There's steps to it, but also from an international perspective, we're starting to see teams like Germany, Slovenia, Slovakia, like I know Slovakia's been around, that's a bad example, but like get better. France, more players are coming from there, Latvia. So I think that's kind of the way it needs to go. We need to see a bigger growth from youth hockey or junior hockey, I guess, before we can see it in the NHL.
Yeah. I want to get to one comment here because I think it's just not quite the right line of thinking. Squishy for breakfast. An audience market 100 times the size doesn't matter when less than 10% watches it. Okay, but there's the potential to take it up from there. And 20% of Phoenix is worth more than whatever it would be of Winnipeg, right? And that's the other comment here. A smaller Canadian market is guaranteed money year after year. When you look at revenues, the bottom 7 teams revenue-wise in the NHL, 2 of them are Canadian. Ottawa and Winnipeg.
And Ottawa just got a new rink yesterday?
Ottawa's getting a new rink in LeBreton Flats. They finally sorted all that issue out. But like Winnipeg is, now that Arizona's gone, Winnipeg's in the bottom 3 maybe for struggling NHL markets.
Who are the other 2?
I still think Carolina doesn't do that well if you look at the numbers.
Oh, I thought you had the 7 teams. Though.
No, I didn't. And I think that was an old list anyways. But,
okay. But either way, yeah. Carolina, probably San Jose.
Yeah.
I mean, if Celebrini in San Jose doesn't kind of work out in the sense of like,
that market
crowd doesn't come, that could be a market that dies and goes to Houston, Phoenix, wherever.
Yeah, if you go franchise valuations, granted this is 2023, Buffalo, Columbus, Florida, then Winnipeg are the franchise valuations.
But Buffalo's problem is they just don't win.
They don't win. If they won, they'd be worth more.
Issue, yeah.
The other thing too with the Canadian teams is you have to have an owner with deep enough pockets to spend in USD.
The Canadian dollar is brutal.
I know, right? So like think about that. Like you sell your tickets, you sell your concession, you sell all that in CAD, and then you have to pay your players in USD.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is funny when you talk about beer prices, right? Because like in Edmonton, get ready because next year I believe they're going to be close to $18 a beer at Rogers.
Free drinks.
But but when we go to Vegas, what is it? It's $18 USD a beer.
Yeah.
So
it's the same.
Credit card only.
Yeah. Credit card only.
Which is the biggest joke in the entire world.
You like cash.
Well, you're in Vegas, goddammit.
Yeah, I know,
like, should be only cash.
You should take chips from the casino, all right? Like,
yeah, Jax. Winnipeg's blue collar suffers for ticket sales during a bad economic times, even with a good team. I mean, there was a point pre-pandemic, the Oilers were not selling out hockey games.
No, they were not.
So I just think there is a little bit of like, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it, but like a little bit of high horseness when you talk about Canadians and hockey. It's like, oh, Saskatoon would work, Quebec City would work.
I don't think so.
Not as well as you think it is. It's not as automatic. So, mistaken Mexican dude, Florida, 2 drinks with a tip ended up being close to like $80 Canadian. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, even without the tip. Like you said, $70. Like it's wild.
20% tip.
And generous. Mistaken Mexican is. Okay, we got a couple more things.
Fair, he did win the 50-50. So,
dude, he's doing all right.
Shouldn't be complaining. I'm joking.
Alberta Blue Cross moment of the week is what we got to get to.
All right.
Brought to you by our friends at Alberta Blue Cross. The moment of the week. If you're planning a trip, make sure you remember to pack travel insurance from Alberta Blue Cross. When you've got Canada's most trusted travel insurance in your back pocket, you can focus on making the right kind of memories while you're away. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. Maybe you want to travel down to Denver with us and the Nation Vacation. Tickets on sale now, nationgear.ca. We're doing 5 days in Denver right around American Thanksgiving. Here is what getting in the trip gets you. You get, and it's brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross, by the way. You get your flights to and from Denver. You get your hotel for 4 nights in Denver. You get to go to Edmonton, Colorado, sitting on Edmonton's attack side twice. Boom.
Good game.
You get to go to Monday Night Football, Denver, Cleveland. Boom. You get access to a tailgate party with food and booze paid for. Boom. And you get a guaranteed good time. Watch party for Edmonton, Utah as well. Giddy up. It's going to be a great trip. If you're not from Edmonton or you want to change up the flights or whatever, you can get our flightless package as well. All available nationgear.ca. Shout out to DNVR. Shout out to Alberta Blue Cross. Our moment of the week, Liam.
Oh, and shout out Kennedy for putting it all together.
Yeah, Kennedy's putting together her First Nation vacation.
And now she's in Venice, Italy.
Yep.
Carry on.
She was in Austria.
She was.
She was in Germany.
World tour. Right?
Yeah, she is. Yep.
Good.
There is only one sports moment that deserves our moment of the week. For the first time in Major League Baseball history, we have a 50-50, man. The 50-50 club has one member. It's been started by Shohei Ohtani, who came into yesterday's game, 1 stolen base and 2 home runs back of the elusive number. Again, no one's done it before. What does he do against the Miami Marlins? He swipes third base with a very crafty slide. He goes yard not twice, but 3 times, steals another base, and he goes from the 50-50 club to the 51-51 club. Again, Major League Baseball has been around for 150 years.
Yeah.
No one has ever done this. And when you look at Ohtani, the fact that he is capable of going 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, and they're mulling over a guy with like 100-mile-an-hour splitter, maybe coming out of the bullpen now. He's recovering from Tommy John and doing this.
Damn, that is insane, yeah.
I tweeted yesterday, it is wild to watch the clear, without a doubt, most gifted athlete to ever play a sport dominate in real time. And like when you talk hockey, like obviously Gretzky holds all the records, but you could sit there and go, is it Gretzky? Is it Mario? You look at the way Connor McDavid's kind of changed the game and done stuff no one's ever done. Like basketball, Jordan, LeBron. There's a debate there. Baseball, there is no debate. I mean, NFL has a ton of debate. Is Rodgers more skilled than Brady? Was Brady just in a better system? You can go on a bunch of debates with a bunch of different quarterbacks.
Cutting his mic.
There is no debate when it comes to baseball.
Who would even be the debate? Like, who are the other guys? Like Barry Bonds? But
Well, like no one's pitch and hit to this level since Babe Ruth, and that was 100 years ago. And again, like
That's fat.
I look at anything that happened that long ago and throw a little asterisk next to it, right? Because sports were different. But like Ohtani is just, it's mind blowing, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like you said, to be recovering from Tommy John's, and then also like knowing he's one of the best. Did he win the Cy Young?
He doesn't have a Cy Young.
No, he does. Oh, MVP.
He's gonna have an MVP. Yeah.
Yeah. So to do that, pretty just nuts. I mean, we said it for a few other things too, but like just enjoy watching players like this play.
I said it's crazy to watch him do 50-50, something no one's ever done in this ridiculously long sport. And now he might go pitch in the playoffs to do another thing no one has ever done before. This guy's made in the lap.
It's wild. Mulek says Gretzky still clears. No. It's just, man, Ohtani is just, again, like great players in every sport. Yes. Wayne Gretzky is the numbers undisputed, right?
Who is your sports GOAT? Like just all time. Do you think it is Ohtani?
I think we're too early to say that, but it's trending that way.
He's got to win. But
again,
I think he's on his way to winning.
To like dominate to be able to dominate both sides of a sport that is like always so split. And then it's not like he's an average hitter, average pitcher, or great hitter, average pitcher. He is a damn good pitcher and an elite hitter. And he steals bases. He's doing stuff that's never been done, man. Like it's wild.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive. I don't know who my sports GOAT is.
Brady.
But you know, one player I actually think, and you guys probably won't think about it, but that is always underappreciated in the negotiation of just like the conversation, of like greatest sports athlete is Pele. Like that's a guy who literally came into the World Cup at like 18 and dominated and won 3 of 4 World Cups. Just nuts.
People don't like that we brought Wayne into this, but like,
yeah, your Twitter account did.
I know. Twitter didn't like that.
I think it's just hard to compare sport to sport.
It's very hard to compare sport to sport, but like, again, like if Wayne Gretzky was scoring 60, doing his numbers, and then was also like, by the way, half the year I just kind of play defense as well. I'm just a defenseman. Totally. The goalie thing is like impossible to even fathom, and it like doesn't really apply. But like, dude, it's
what Ohtani's doing is kind of hard to fathom.
It's crazy to like wrap your head around being that good of a pitcher and that good of a hitter in the highest level of the sport. Like, it's nuts. It's nuts. I think Ohtani's the most unique athlete we've ever seen in North America.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Even like, I mean, look
to not even just like, not even to be a power hitter, but to like hit for average and then steal bases and have the power, and then also the pitcher thing. Like, it's wild. He's the most unique athlete we've ever seen.
They call baseball guys 5-tool guys, so he's a 6-tool guy because he can pitch as well.
Does he?
And he's got like multiple pitching tools. Like he's an 8-tool guy.
I know he's only a DH, but does he ever play in the field?
He used to when he was with the Angels. He'd play in right field.
Right field. Okay. Yeah, that's curious. Shortstop. I feel like that would be crazy.
Yeah, and like Gretzky, 4 200-point seasons. Insane. But I also think you got to look at the eras a little bit here. Like Ohtani's doing it in a crazy era of baseball too. So Christopher Palmer, you can't compare apples to potatoes. I get it.
Yeah.
And again, like when you look at the way Ohtani in his sport is just so much different than anyone else. And there's like Gretzky was in an era. There were other great playmakers. There were other great goal scorers. There were great defensemen, great goalies. Like Ohtani's in a zone where like he is one of the greatest hitters and one of the best pitchers, and there's no one else hitting and pitching at the same time. Like he's the only one doing this, and he's the only one who's done it in the last 100 years. Like, I don't know. I just think it's unbelievable.
Who's the second best player? Judge? I actually have no idea.
Yeah, I guess it's Judge. I hate Yankees fans. Also, we're going to turn this into a bit of a talk. I guess we only have 5 minutes left. So let's get into the Bet365 Other Sports Report, Liam. It's brought to you by Bet365, where you can sign up today and use the promo code OILYBONUS to get in on all the action. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary over at Bet365. I'm putting together my teaser for the week, courtesy of Bet365.
What do you got?
I'm looking at a few games here to throw in. I like the Bears, despite our boy Colts fan Seth dropping another banger on Twitter.
I need caught the cheerleaders in.
It's great. You should go look up Seth if you don't know who he is.
I didn't think about the song for 55 minutes.
I know.
If you can't find him, Big Cat quote tweet.
Yeah, big cat quote. I like taking the Bears up to +7 against the Colts. I think that's a pretty good spot.
Okay.
I was going to have the Chargers in it, but I just saw Justin Herbert's questionable, so I'm a little nervous about that.
Who's a backup?
I don't know who their backup
Easton
is.
Stick.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know if I want to
probably
touch that.
avoid that one.
I like taking the Buccaneers at home down to half a point against the Broncos.
Oh, yeah, you could guess.
That's a great spot. So you got the Bears
Broncos.
+7. You got the Buccaneers minus half a point. And for my third leg of the parlay, where do I want to go with this? God, the Chargers were my third leg, and now I'm not confident enough to bet them, so I don't want to touch it. I can't touch a Vikings game because I'm a little bit worried they're going to fall off at some point. They're playing the Texans, but it's in mini, so it's like I just don't want to touch that.
Yeah.
Ravens, Cowboys, I don't really want to touch. Cardinals, Lions.
I'd tease up the Browns against the Giants.
Tease the Browns to half a point against the Giants.
That's exactly what I do.
I just don't trust Cleveland all that much.
The Giants are ass. So
That's also fair. KC to +3 against the Falcons. I don't know.
Oh, Raiders,
about-
Panthers. Just tease that one down.
I was going to say, what about Seahawks, Dolphins? You have Skylar Thompson playing.
Yeah, but sometimes if a backup with a full week to prepare, that's a trap line. What if we teased the over in Lions Cardinals, 45.5? Cardinals defense wasn't great against the Bills in week 1.
I don't think the Cardinals have played a defense like the Lions yet, though.
The Bills.
I don't know. The Bills have injuries.
Point stance.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't touch that one. I don't really know which way that's gonna go.
I don't hate that, but maybe even a little lower, I might even go.
Yeah, I don't want to go that much lower. Take the Commanders up to 13.5 on Monday against the Bengals because the Bengals stink now. Maybe I stick with the Chargers anyways. 7.5 even with the backup.
Do you have the Bills in there?
No, I don't.
Oh,
You think that's a good spot? Didn't want to be a
Trevor
homer.
Lawrence is 0-7 in his last 7 games.
Okay, that's fair. Bears +1, Bucks -6, Bears +7, Bucks -0.5. Bills take them to +1. 3-leg teaser on Bet365 brings you to +150. So there is our teaser of the week. I am also, a couple weeks ago on Real Life, or a week ago on Real Life, I announced that I'm betting on the Elks to win the Grey Cup, and I have.
Okay.
And a lot of people are following suit. The streets are talking. CFL power rankings on TSN, Elks were number 2.
Really? It was 1. Winnipeg?
Winnipeg. Who did the Elks play this week?
Winnipeg.
Who just got announced as being out for the rest of the season for Winnipeg? Adam Bighill. He's out.
Who's that?
A big-time defensive player.
Is he? Okay. I was going to say, you can give me a million guesses.
Yeah, I know. So the Elks in action against the Adam Bighill list Blue Bombers this weekend. They are 1-point underdogs at home on a Saturday night at 5 o'clock. I'm going to be there. I'm at the game.
Me too.
Boots on the ground. So is AB. I'm sitting in the corner. I think it's like section double D. So come say what's up if you're at the Elks game.
Nice.
Show
Those
me
are
your
good
Elks
seats.
Grey Cup tickets.
Your Elks futures.
And I'm going to be betting straight up Elks money line, I think.
Can you do me a favor?
Yep.
Look for a bet for me. I can't
Yep.
pull it up. Go to soccer. Go to United Kingdom or whatever it says.
One sec. Soccer. And then where do you want me to go? United Kingdom?
Does it say that? Oh, like English League or something like that.
English Premier League? England
No,
League One?
League One.
Oh, are we getting a
I
little
think Bolton play Reading this week, and then they're away.
Bolton
Should be at the bottom.
plays Reading. Yeah, Reading. Okay.
What are the odds? What?
-134. Bolton's the home team. Yes. They're the top
first
team listed.
Yes. With
So Bolton's -134 to win.
Really?
Good spot.
No, terrible. They've been brutal all
Yep.
season. Bet Reading.
Reading +350 to win on the road.
That would be huge.
All right.
Bolton
Giddy up.
haven't scored a goal in the league in 3 games. That's not good, folks.
No.
Not winning many games.
Our
if you do that.
Wanderers are
Wandering,
wandering.
to say the least.
Yeah. So CFL weekend, we're riding on the Elks. Let's go. Mistaken Mexican. I'm definitely riding on the Elks to win. Even the Elks to make it to the finals isn't bad. Threw some money on that. One other thing I'd like to do today is I would like to place on the heels of my Elks future. I will be placing a future on the World Series.
Okay.
Playoff baseball is almost here.
Is it? It is almost October, isn't it?
It is almost October.
That's when I start watching.
I love Shohei Ohtani,
Okay.
but I want the and it's tough. It pulls me in so many different directions because I love Ohtani because I love greatness. I hate Ohtani because I think it would have been better for his legacy to sign in Toronto, win some World Series, and sit there and go, did it myself. Instead, he went to a super team. I don't really respect that all that much.
Okay.
And I hate Dodgers fans. So I can't bet the Dodgers.
Well, that's such an interesting statement you just made.
Why?
You just said you respect greatness, but you hate the Dodgers.
Yeah, because I don't like the way they just buy everyone. I don't like their fan base.
Okay.
Their fan base, every time they lose, they're like, "Oh, the playoff format sucks." Aww. It's like maybe you should beat the Diamondbacks. Shout out to our guy Brett Holden, who is a Dodgers fan. Phillies, I'll always stand with the Phillies because I love when the bank gets rolling in the playoffs. And shout out Frank Saravalli. Yankees, I think I hate the Yankees more than the Dodgers. In fact, I know I do.
Yeah.
Some Yankees fan posted an edit the other day of it was like Aaron Judge's game-tying home run, but to the theme with the Moneyball music and all of that. And I was like, what? And then someone quote tweeted and it was like, yes, Moneyball, the famous story of the team with a $350 million payroll winning a regular season game.
I've made an edit just like that before. Just cut up home runs to Moneyball.
I think I've got a team in baseball now because I went to a game.
Oh.
Are my Mariners going to make it?
No.
They're 2 wins out.
Yeah.
How many games are left?
Like 9.
So they got 7 teams make the playoffs?
6 in each. 4 wild card teams, or 3 wild card teams and the 3 division winners.
Gotcha.
So can I tell you the team I've settled on?
Yeah, go ahead.
9-1. The Cleveland Guardians.
Wow. That makes sense.
4 Canadians on the roster. This is them popping their champagne. And of course, if you've been watching the show, you know we got our boy, Eric Sabrowski.
Right there.
There's him and his lovely fiance with the big goggles on, the October ready shirt.
Nice.
The Cleveland Guardians, 9-1 to win the World Series. I think the Yankees might be a little bit of frauds. The Orioles have not found their groove yet this year. The Guardians are likely coming in as the 2 seed, although they are tied with the Yankees right now, so they very well might come into this playoffs as the 1 seed. If they can have a good end of the regular season, they can get the 1 seed. They're going to get the lowest seeded team in round 2, which if it's the Twins, they beat the Twins. If it's the Tigers, they beat the Tigers.
The Mariners.
I doubt the Mariners get in, but maybe. Yes. So if you can get in as that 1 seed, get the lowest ranked team and let whoever it ends up being, Yankees, Astros, Orioles, Royals, let them beat up on each other.
Okay.
I like the path for the Guardians at 9-1 to win the World Series, and I'm betting on it.
All right. I like
Go
that.
Guardians, 4 Canadians. Some would even say 5. Someone tweeted me and said Austin Hedges spent some time growing up playing ball in Canada. So shout out to the 4 Canadians on the roster.
Yeah.
Cleveland is Canada's team. Let's go.
All right.
There you go.
Go Guardians, go. I mean, I'm in. I just want to support Eric at the end of the day.
Yep. That's what it's all about.
Really care about. And my Mariners.
And by the way, 7 2/3 innings pitch, no earned runs, 11 strikeouts.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. He's not allowed to run yet. Is he allowed to hit?
Yeah, he's allowed to hit. He's walked a few. But his whip's 0.78.
What does that mean?
Walks and hits per innings pitch is below 1, which is good.
Pretty damn good.
I tweeted the other day, I was like, 10 strikeouts. And his mom replied to me and was like, it's 11, Tyler. I was like, my bad. And I also, when I was tweeting, I was like, I tweeted 3 Canadians on the roster. And someone replied and was like, there's actually 4, like you missed one. And it's actually probably one of the better ones too. It's just totally my bad for not knowing he was Canadian. It's Cade Smith, who is out of Vancouver. 25-year-old, 6'5" starting pitcher, 73 innings pitched, a 1.96 ERA. He's nasty. And his dad liked the tweet. And there's something very heartwarming about parents of like young athletes being like, I got to get on Twitter and fight for my boy.
Emberson's parents are going to be pissed.
Yeah. And that whole show comes full circle. Good work.
So
Elks game tomorrow night. See you there.
Do
Enjoy
the Guardians have the best bullpen in baseball?
Emmanuel Clase is the best reliever in baseball. So maybe.
I feel like I saw some the other day and I wasn't, hey, Sabrowski's in the bullpen.
So there's something I want to ask about. You guys clearly know I'm not much of a baseball guy. Guys, I'm becoming president on the show.
They have the best bullpen ERA in baseball by almost half a run.
Yeah, there you go.
Or by half a run.
The Detroit Tigers, usually terrible, right?
Usually.
They are in the playoffs.
They're having an unreal second half.
Really? So that's kind of the thing
So it's going to come down to the Mariners, Twins, and Tigers for that final playoff spot.
And you said Mariners, right?
Yeah, they're 2 back. Twins and Tigers are tied for the last spot. Royals are 2 up on that last wild card spot, so 4 up on the Mariners.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a good race here for the final. It's a great time for baseball.
I was just looking at the schedules for the 3 teams, and I think the Twins have the edge. They have the Red Sox, the Marlins, and Orioles. I know Orioles are good, right?
That's good. They get the Marlins though.
Yeah, Detroit has the Orioles, the Rays, and the White Sox. So
Orioles, Rays, White Sox.
Yeah, so that's
Detroit,
good, right?
Okay.
And then the Mariners have the Rangers, the Astros, and the Athletics.
Astros, Athletics.
Yeah, so I would say the Mariners probably have the toughest.
Mariners are 11-1 to make the playoffs.
See, My dad.
When Ty gets that grin, I know he's cooking something up.
Yeah.
It's tempting.
My dad has become a big Mariners fan because he went to Seattle last year and he got to see a game. So he watches every single game. It's kind of crazy, to be honest.
Braves can still make it. They're 2 back of the Mets and Diamondbacks, and they play the Mets.
Oh.
Ty, correct me if I'm wrong. The Braves would have an easier time winning a playoff series than getting into the playoffs because all their guys are going to be healthy if they make it.
Do they have a lot of injuries?
Oh, so many. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because they're a good team, right? It's good. It's supposed to be good.
What's going on in the NL? Yeah, I kind of like the Phillies too.
I mean, I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks.
Really?
Back to back? Right? Oh, no, they lost in the final.
They lost in the final.
Oh, they still got the rings. My bad. Remember they did that at the start of the year? They got rings for winning the NL.
Oh, that's a bad look. Bad omen.
Rings.
And that's your team. I'm kidding.
I have been to the stadium. It's all right.
It's good. Good ballpark. All right. Okay, that's a wrap. We're good.
Monday we will expand from our
quarterback conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been asking to do that. We got a couple of guests lined up for next week as well.
Yeah.
So let's go. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. One of the last, summery-ish weekends. Nice fall weekends of the year. Got like a month to enjoy the outdoors here. Why not?
Yeah, the outdoor.
And go check out the Elks game. Let's go. Throw some support behind our CFL boys.
Yeah. And if you're not going to the Elks game and you're in Show Park, Crusaders home opener tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's the Penticton V's.
That'll actually be a really good hockey game.
Yeah, it will be.
All right. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll be back next week with 3 more shows. Oil up.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.